It's kind of scary when you have kids nowadays,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, boy.
I got one daughter who's 8, and I try to, exactly what you said, but do the best you can.
I'm a firm believer that you have to, it's like a card game. You know what I mean? Like you're dealt a hand, and then you have to play it. That's what you got. That's what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's what you do, And so by the time I was like 15, they couldn't handle me anymore. So they decided that I was coming over here for a vacation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was all a lie, because I didn't want to move.
That is the thing, though. You're not going out of your way to do it on purpose. You're just looking for a way of surviving.
Yeah, and I mean, when we talk about like countries like ours, a lot of people have the misconception that we do things because we want to be bad. But
no, it's survival.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we grew up in a system where like if you don't step up on your game and become that aggressive lion that you have to be, then people they will just destroy you.
Okay.
They will eat you alive. And so you have to become this kind of people.
Okay.
And especially for us, me, I mean, I have my cousins and whatnot that always look after me, but I didn't have that at home. I didn't have that structure at home. So, moving forward, I lived there from 11 until I was roughly about 15.
Okay.
Until the point where my sisters were like, can't handle this kid being here anymore. If we,
So you're getting bad stuff at an early age.
Oh, yeah.
11, you're still a baby.
Oh, yeah. By that time I was already, smoking. I was already drinking, and so, I was running away from home, like being out really late I mean, there was times where my sisters were looking for me like at midnight.
Worried if you're coming home at all.
Whenever I was coming home. Because, I was like, well, who's going to tell me, not to do this kind of things, And so it was rough, and now that I'm 42 now.
I'm 42
I'm 42. So, now that when I look back, I'm like, I always thank God because, I always thought I wasn't going to make it past like 20, I mean, you're living in that lifestyle where like, at some point you just don't care anymore. You're like doing stupid stuff and you're like, who cares, So when I moved to California, my sister was married to this guy from Guatemala. They were like high school sweethearts, So he lived in New York. He lived in a really, tough, neighborhood too. And he kind of became my mentor.
Okay.
He was a chef already at a restaurant. And I remember one day he said, you know what, you need to start working and start, putting your mind to something more positive. And so I became a dishwasher.
Okay.
Yeah, so I he got me the job at this Italian restaurant in Pan Desert. Yeah, in Pan Desert. And so I was like, it's funny because I was making $4.15 an hour back then.
Yeah.
$4 an hour.
My first job was $4.25.
Oh man. So, I used to, back then being a dishwasher was tough. Because, we didn't have the technology that they have nowadays.
Oh, so you're doing all by hand. Yeah, okay.
So, the cooks will come in and they do the marinara sauce and they use the pots that were like this big and you have to wash it by hand.
It's getting up to your elbow deep. And
all the satay pans, you had to wash them by hand, everything. I mean, we had the machine can only fit one rack at a time.
Gotcha.
And it was like, it was an experience because they never moved from that one point.
It reminds me of the same thing you hear about America, where like people are growing up in gangs and bad neighborhoods and they're stuck, and a lot of people end up doing drugs or stealing cars, or they end up being shot dead.
Yeah.
And it seems like the exact same thing in a different country.
Yeah.
Probably worse because it is in a different country.
It is in a different country. And like I said, you don't, I mean, every way that you look is the same thing. If they're not stealing cars, they're selling drugs. If not, they're doing.
Yeah, you don't have the option of this university or this positive like outlet.
Yeah, it's a very small percentage. Yeah. You can see it's like, oh wow.
And you could see how it's not accessible. You can't get to it because you don't know the right people.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I was still hanging out with the people that I shouldn't have been.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay, but you also had a positive influence.
Yeah, I had a positive influence, but then I was trying to switch my life around. So, so I was working a lot. So my sisters used to deliver newspapers in the morning, 3 a.m. every day, 7 days a week.
Gotcha.
I mean, we were hustlers, man. So I will go do papers with my sisters, like, 2 days a week.
Okay.
And then I go to school, like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then right after school, I'll go to the restaurant. So I was starting to like, okay, maybe it's not, maybe I need to start focusing more on like the working thing. So, but it's one of those things that is really hard to get away from, So I had an incident at school, a big fight. So I got expelled from the school. Now that I became somehow on my own word successful, I work harder than anybody else to stay there.
Yeah.
Because I'm so afraid to lose that.
Yeah,
you always have that in the back of your mind. It's like, I don't want to go back to where I came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was rough. Not having food to eat was rough.
It's
like,
So people don't get, like 2/3 of the world don't have access to clean water.
Yeah.
Full stop. Like
exactly.
Most of the world doesn't have access to the internet.
Yeah.
We have the device in our pocket, which gives access to any piece of information, but we don't know how to run a business. We don't know how to pick up a book. The average American reads less than one book a year.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane stuff, but it's easier to sit back and point the finger, make excuses. I don't know how to lose weight. I don't know how to start a business. I'm not making enough money. But like you said, you live in America.
I mean, everything
could not be a better place to do it.
Not. Especially nowadays, man. Come on.